What's going on?
What's up, guys?
We are back with another episode of the Backlash Boys. Hope everybody enjoying their day today. If you are watching, just leave us a comment. Make sure y'all can hear us. Then we'll get everything started here. While y'all are waiting, we'll kind of run over what we're going to be talking about today. Our main topic is going to be boat etiquette. Talking about etiquette as on the water, what is right, what is wrong, what we think is right and wrong. Then we're going to do a little Q&A. So anytime y'all have any questions about the topic or just us in general, we're going to go through, answer some questions. And then we're going to go into boater and co-angler etiquette as like in a BFL, Toyota, Bassmaster Rope, or anything like that, as like our respect to the co-angler respect to the boater. And then if depending on the time, then we're going to try to tell some stories, fishing stories that we've had as we're traveling with each other. And then that's going to be about it. But while we're waiting, we are going to do something new. We're going to start posting it every Wednesday. We're going to do something called the Technique of the Week. So we're going to pick a technique, talk about it for about 20 to 30 minutes. We'll not be live. We're going to record it and then post it on our social medias on Wednesday. So if y'all have any certain topics y'all want us to talk about, shoot us a message, shoot us a comment, and we'll get it going from there. Happy birthday.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes, today is my birthday. Yes, I can.
Yeah,
hear
we
you,
got you,
Cal.
Cal.
Got you, Cal. Perfect.
Steve Moore says my favorite.
Yep.
And then Somebody's talking about you in the bottom left.
The bottom right, right?
Bottom right, yeah, bottom right. Anyway.
It'd be Robbie.
Bottom right.
Oh.
Who's staticky? I don't know who's staticky.
I'm not sure.
It might be somebody's AirPods.
Might be.
Cal, take your AirPods out. It's Cal's AirPods.
That's Cal.
Cal going old school.
You're muted now. You have to unmute yourself.
Well, he's figuring that out.
Cal, you're muted. There you are.
Hey.
He's off. Can you hear us? Okay, he's back. He's back. All right. First technical difficulty, but we're good. We are good. Okay. Let's get this show on the road. Okay. First topic: boat etiquette. So basically, a little rundown on what we're talking about is going to be like, if you see somebody fishing a bank, do you pull up? How far do you pull up? Or vice versa, if somebody's pulling up on you, when do you say something? When do you not? Just respect on the water in general. So what's kind of talking about, like if you see somebody fishing on a bank and you want to fish a point, but they're down the bank about 100 yards, 200 yards. Do you keep going or do you pull up on that point still and just fish that point? Because they're just fishing the bank. Like they're just like bank fishing, but you just want to make casts on that point. Do you pull up or do you not?
Me, I'm not. I'm not.
Which way's the boat going?
The boat's heading towards the point.
It's heading toward the
It's
point.
heading towards the point.
I don't like that happening to me, so therefore I wouldn't do that. Years ago, when I first started tournament fishing, you didn't see that happening much. It seemed like there was a little more respect in that situation.
I
Versus
mean, if he's
now,
200 yards down the bank, I'm pulling up on the point. I mean, who's throwing
Now-
anything 200 yards?
Yeah, but he's also heading towards you.
yeah, and he's cussing you because you cut him off.
Hey.
He might be working his way trying to get set up just right on that point too when he's coming up that bank.
Yeah. So was I.
Now this happens a lot in the winter on me and Cal. If he's fishing that bank, but I want to fish that point, but I'm fishing like 100 yards off the point, live scoping, but he's fishing the bank, I'm pulling up. Because we've had that happen. We'd be fishing out in the middle and a guy just be fishing down the bank beside of us. That happens all the time. So like if it's in the winter and I'm fishing, at that point goes out to 75 foot of water and I'm fishing around 75 foot of water, but he's staying on the bank, I will pull up. Now if I'm going up and I'm going to be fishing that point shallower like he is, then I'm not pulling up. I'm going to go on to the next.
I don't know.
What are you gonna do, Cal?
I'm kind of like I'm mixed between your answer and Dusty's answer.
Who the heck was that?
I have no idea.
Good Lord.
I don't know. I feel like Dustin said, it's like you go if he's 200 yards down the bank, he's still got a lot of room to cover to get there.
Yeah, I mean, is he running to the point? I mean, or is he walking?
Well, what if he's got his trolling motor set on high and he's coming down through there pretty quick?
Well, then,
okay.
It depends on how long I want to fish that point. Like, if I want to go there and fish that point, I'm going to sit there. I'm not going to do it. But if I'm just going to go there, make a few casts, and then leave, like I would do that. Depending on the time, how long it takes for me to fish it.
Okay, vice versa. Because this happened to me at Hold Hickory. Guys just fishing the point, but you want to go down the bank on the right side or the left side of where that guy's sitting at on that point. Do you still pull up, go fish the bank, or do you just let him have the whole bank?
Well, I always say, hey, bud, you care if I go back behind you are you going down the front side, or I always
That,
try to
that's
ask.
that's what I
Uh,
did. I pulled up
it's
and I
just
said, "Hey
common
man, do you care?"
courtesy.
That's what I did. I pulled up and I said, "Hey man, are you going to go down the bank or are you just fishing this point?" He's like, "No man, I'm just fishing this point." I said, "Well, do you care if I go around you and go down the bank?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't care." Because I don't know about you, but like if I'm fishing down the bank and I come to a point, I'm gonna set up like I'm fishing that point, fish it for a little bit, and then go on down the bank. But then some people will just point hop. You know what I mean?
And some I've had them before. I caught about, I guess it's been 3 years ago. I caught 19 pounds in a Tuesday night tournament, and the following Tuesday night there was a boat pulled. I mean, I could have stepped off in his boat in
Yeah, I
front of
remember
me,
you telling me about
casting in
that.
front. So, you know, I didn't say much. I don't. I'm the type that don't like controversy, especially on the water. So,
Oh,
it
Cal
is
loves
what
it.
it is. Yeah, Cal
Oh,
loves
I'm
controversy.
all about it. So that happened to me at Old Hickory when it was the very first spot of the day, and I pulled up to it, and I started probably 30 yards away from where I actually want to start at. So I was just gonna work my way up to it. But a boat pulled up right really 10 yards in front of me and started fishing the same bank going the same way. I didn't say anything that time. Just fished behind him. I caught 3 fish behind him doing it. But I came back to that spot later in the afternoon, right before I was about to run all the way back up to the weigh-in. So I was like, I'm gonna stop here, see if I can't get another big bite right here. And a guy does the same thing, pulls up like right in front of me, fishes this. But I'm fishing grass, and he fishes this same exact patch of grass I was fishing. And I looked at him, I said, "Are you serious, dude?" He goes, "What?" I said, "What are we doing? We just fishing together now? Like, what are we doing?" He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off." I was like, "What do you mean? My boat's going that way." He said, "I didn't know you were going that way." You're right. I'm trolling down the bank backwards. But yeah,
I've
I'm
done
trying to
that
figure
a
out
time or two.
trying to figure out what Dad's talking about. What happened to me at Chick? Do you know what happened to me at
Got
Chick?
that butt whooped. That's what happened to you.
I did get my butt whooped. It happened to you too, apparently, Cal. Oh, I know what happened when we were idling back in. That guy tried getting in our boat.
yeah.
Oh, at
That
Chick.
that wasn't fishing related, really. That was just like
That was
we
what?
were
Wait,
That was during
so
practice, wasn't it?
yeah we were coming back in. Was it a BFL practice?
It
What
was
was that?
BFL practice. It was BFL practice.
Yeah. So we're pulling in. If you ever been to Dayton, there's that place where you can run through there right before you get to an idle zone. Well, we've seen this guy idling outside the buoys. So we just run about 30, 40 miles an hour, ran right through the place where we can run away from him, which even scooted closer enough to the bank so we wouldn't like wake him or anything like that. Because I'm not gonna stop like 200 yards back where I can still run and idle because the guy's idling outside of the buoys. Like I'm talking about not just like right outside the buoys, like way outside the buoys. Well, we get where we have to idle, and he comes flying by us. He's like, "Do you think that was funny? Do you think that was funny?" And we're like, "We didn't even laugh at you, and we're not breaking any laws. You were outside the buoys. I'm inside the buoys, running where I can run." Well, he tried jumping in our boat and all that kind of stuff. In my eyes, I didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean? He was outside the buoys,
I
way
mean, you
outside the
know,
buoys, and I can run in those areas. It's not like I was like boat to boat past him.
yeah,
Did you
There
push
was
him
a
to the
good
bank?
three.
no.
No,
But you know me, I'm not gonna let him sit there and talk crap.
get him,
Yeah, we
Cal.
know Cal.
All 4'8"
Cal.
of you, dude.
I
Yeah.
was just trying to say I'm
the,
sorry and keep going, but Cal was like, "Bop, bop, 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 bop."
Yeah, you can't take
the,
a
the,
co-angler nowhere, man. We're gonna
no.
run our mouth because it ain't our boat. And they get in the boat. We'll fight them because we might break something, but that's okay.
The little leprechaun gets a little eel.
Yeah. You said, "You want some of these Lucky Charms? Come get some."
I mean,
Okay, that's it. What did you say? Yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, like he was running his mouth, and I was like, dude, we're not laughing at you, none of that. We're done past that. And he kept coming at us, and then so I was like, you know what, we're gonna do this then. Come on.
And we forgot to add this part. Cal's driving my boat.
Yeah, I was driving at that point.
That was the mistake. Therefore, I got you in trouble letting Cal drive.
And he's trying to come on the boat on my side.
If you'd have started the story off with that, we'd have just knew. Hey, Cal was driving. Dude tried to get in the boat. Well, Cal did something.
I didn't do anything wrong, though. I really didn't. But
Cal says, blue, blah, blah, blah.
She's a Gavin and Cal fan. Well, like on Mondays after the podcast, she's like, I don't watch Gavin and Cal. I'm like, what about me and Rob? Yeah, y'all too. I want to see Gavin and Cal.
So, Dusty, how about you ask that question that kind of got us on this topic?
Oh, okay. All right, got you. All right. So, example, Tuesday night, I'm fishing Rob's tournament. He pulls up to where I'm at. We're back in a little cove area. I tell him to come on in. Now, granted, he catches a fish. Mine was bigger. But where we draw that line of, hey, yeah, come on in, or nah, man, I'm here first. You know, is it like because you know them, or situational? Because I'm a co-angler. I don't want nobody really coming in on me in a BFL, but I leave it up to the boater.
Me personally, if it's one of y'all, I don't care. Me and Robbie did that at the regional. We were literally sitting boat to boat. We even told our co-anglers before we blasted off, hey, you might have to be casting over his boat at some point. Because we literally sat side by side a lot during that tournament. Because we found the same school of fish. But I think it's like, and you see this a lot on the Elite Series, like when they go to Pickwick or a ledge tournament, or even like down there at St. Clair, they were in the same areas. Like, and a good story that I can use for this is down at Pickwick for my high school national championship, we were fishing ledges. And there's like 300 something boats in it. So we had this one spot. We only had like 2 or 3 spots. There's just one spot that we knew that we could catch a limit out of it and have decent. So we're running down there. And this was like an hour to hour and a half ride. We went to one dam to the other dam, basically. Well, we get down there, and there's somebody sitting on it. So we didn't pull up. We didn't talk to him. We just kept fishing. We went to our other spot. So the next day, we had an earlier boat number. So we got there first. Well, the guy came up to us like, hey, man, this is all we have. We fished here yesterday. We did pretty good. Do you care if we fish with y'all? Fish here with us. And we said, at first we were iffy about it. We were like, man, we were here first. We didn't come up on you. But then we were like, yeah, it's fine. And granted, we didn't know much. I didn't have the technology on my boat that I have now. I didn't even have a good trolling motor that had a good spot lock, whatever. So they ended up pulling up, and we both caught a limit. We both had a good bag, whatever. Well, the next day, we met up that morning, and he got an earlier boat number. So he ended up beating us there, but he saved it for us. He turned like 2 or 3 boats away for us to pull up and fish with him. But this spot was big enough to do that. We both were sitting there catching 100 fish a day. But it actually helped me because I learned a lot from him. The way that he was setting up for his for his high schoolers, the way that he was setting up, the way we at one point we literally were holding on to his power pole where we didn't have a good spot lock so he could keep us on the spot. So if it's I think it's kind of the way that somebody approaches you. You know what I mean? And or if it's a big enough spot.
I don't think where Rob was big enough.
Well,
I mean
that spot. I told Dust. I said. He said, "Are you starting in there?" And I said, "No, you go ahead and go in there fishing if you want to. I'm gonna try something different." And when we run back there, my son fished with me, and he said, "Let's pull in there and tell him he's been back there long enough. Get out of there."
Yeah, you know, he's in a 21-foot fiberglass, and I'm over here in a little 19-foot aluminum. I mean, he was coming in one way or another, so I just pushed the, hey, yeah, come on in. And then he pulls up, and I was like, hey, man, you got any fish? He's like, yeah, I got 12. I'm like, whatever. He's like, you got one? He's like, really? Because he was all surprised I actually had one because he didn't have any.
Yeah, I didn't have none.
Yeah. And he caught one where my boat was sitting off of a drop shot. And,
well, see, that's why I told Jake. I said, he's sitting right on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was trying. They were actually chasing some shad up in there, and that's where I'd get my one and a couple of shorts. But
Now,
Jerk
Cal
come in
season
there and did that.
at, in the wintertime, especially on Del Hollow, like when I won mine, there was 4 or 5 boats in this one creek, you
Mhm.
know? And that you can't really tell nobody to not come up or not to come in there because you're fishing a wide open creek and you're going from mouth of it to the back of it. So there's no really like, hey, this is my spot, stay out of this creek. You can't really do that.
Mhm.
So
No,
we literally had 5 or 6 boats in there.
that is difficult. When we back up, go to the war is at the regional. Me and Dust was coming out of the creek. I'd seen that spot and I was going to fish it, and we come out and there's a boat sitting on it. And I was like, crap. And I said, wait a minute, there's red power poles on the back of that boat. I'm going to idle close to that. If that is Gavin, I'm fishing it. So that's what we done. And I mean, we found a gigantic school of fish there.
But at one time, we were all 4 tangled up. I think at once, at
Yeah,
least 3
during
of us.
practice.
Yeah, because we all threw at the same fish.
But with that, with me, and we tried doing this in college, and the people, we love the guys we fished with at college, but they just never understood this. When we go to these tournaments, I want to work as a team. You know what I mean? Like not even necessarily spots. Like you don't like we just need to like I want us to sit down and attack this lake together. You know what I mean? Because for example, Old Hickory, I probably would have not caught a dang thing if Cal didn't kind of lead me in on something. You know what I mean? Vice versa. I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have caught my last keeper at Watts Bar if Robbie didn't tell me that I could go catch him flipping. You know what I mean? I mean not Watts Bar, but South Holston. So like those little small things, he's not telling me, "Hey, go flip this bank right here," but he's saying, "Hey, I know you're doing something different, but you can go catch them flipping if something happens." You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I
I
think
did.
that's how it should be. I think that's how it should be as like a group. You know, like none of that
Right.
secret. Like that's how it was when we fished college. Nobody wanted to give up anything. Like we weren't even asking for spots. Like man, if you're on something, let us try to feed off of it. Not saying we're going to pull up on your spots.
Mhm.
We
So
just want to
like
attack the play together.
when we fished Lake Hartwell, we got on like a little dock, not dock, like a bridge pattern. Like you can go to any bridge and you could catch a pretty good
A keeper.
bag, yeah.
Catch a limit.
And so the second day comes around and we're talking to one of our teammates. They're like, yeah, we're probably gonna go up here, fish this bridge, catch some keepers first. And he's like, no, you better stay off my bridges. These are mine. And like we're like, but why? Like we haven't seen him on a bridge all week.
And he was talking about like every bridge on the lake. And
Yeah,
there's
he
like
told us,
20 on Hartwell.
yeah, we weren't allowed to fish a bridge, is what he told us.
I done told him, I said, good luck, buddy, keeping me off one of them.
And I
But
always like it.
Go
I
ahead,
always like
Dustin.
it when I draw a boater, and I've been fishing with Rob 2 days, and we found a couple of things, and they're like, "Man, I ain't practiced. Y'all caught them? Yeah. Where y'all catching them at? I don't know, dude.
yeah, that
I'll tell you how we catching them, but you ain't getting the dude's spots. I gotta live with
for
them.
example, Cal's boater at Watts Bar asked if he was staying with a bunch of boaters, and he told him yeah. And
Yeah,
then he started answering. He wouldn't tell us anything. He wouldn't tell
yeah,
Cal what he was fishing, where he was fishing, what he was doing.
right. And I guess that's the
I
opposite end,
can't
but
catch.
yeah,
I never
It's hard.
understood that.
It's hard to catch somebody else's fish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like if
It
somebody
is.
comes up to me and goes, "Hey, you did good this time. What did you catch them on?" I'm gonna tell you what I caught them on. But like that doesn't mean that you are doing it the way I was doing it, targeting something I was targeting. You know what I mean? Like I've never been secrety. Now there's a few things that I do with certain things that I'm like I'm gonna hold that in. Because
Right.
at first, ask Cal, I didn't want to say how I was catching them at Watts Bar. You know, I didn't want to because
Yeah.
I just feel like that was something unique and that's something that not a lot of people do. But I ended up saying it anyways.
You
we'll be
can't
driving
keep
down the
secrets
lake.
from me.
We'll
yeah.
be. I'll be riding down the lake with my boater, and we'll pass one of Rob's spots, and I'll be like, "Don't look over there. Stay straight ahead, right here." Like, don't tip it off.
And I end up catching 2 of my keepers on one of your boater spots at Watts Bar that we didn't even know was his spot.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah. He
just
talked about it. He's like, speaking of boat etiquette, he's like, yeah, he cut me off, come in here and caught one, looked at me and left.
Okay, you go back to boat etiquette. Say you're fishing and getting ready to move to a spot, and another boat is got the same mindset, but you don't know that that's the same mindset, and your boat's a little bit faster. Do you blow by him
I'm
to get
pulling in.
there?
I'm pulling
Yes.
Yeah.
in
Yes.
I don't have that problem.
because it's like we kind of did that at that Tuesday nighter that night. That guy was pulling into that spot, but he didn't. He slowed down a little bit, but you don't know if he was slowing down to idle on back. But if he's slowing down, I'm gonna go on bat him and get to where I need to be.
Yeah, really thought he was going to start on that point out there, and that's the reason I wasn't going to sit down to idle through there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've seen that happen too. Like especially like certain places, like at the Del Hollow. I know
I,
that once I come around this corner, the only spot up there is this one little creek because you can't go much farther. And there's two other boats behind me. Oh, one was beside of me, and one was on this side of me. And I kind of cut them off to try to get to this spot before they could because that's like the only thing I had. Um,
I
now
try to keep courteous. I mean, I'm probably the only person you'll ever meet that cut a crankbait off during a tournament to give to his co-angler after I had my limit. Did I know I had enough to win? I did not.
yeah,
I mean, you
But
might be
That is the
the
one
guy,
you won, though, right?
yeah, it is.
you
Don't
might be
hurt
the only
them.
guy that's ever given your co-angler a rod and reel to throw it on too.
or tied their knots.
Yeah, or tied their
Yeah,
knots.
Hey, did he cast it for you too, Cal?
he almost did. I could have asked him to. He would have.
He said, "Here, before you beat up my power pole, let me throw that out
Yeah,
there."
yeah. Before you break my power pole by here.
Amy said, "Tell the story."
What story?
Oh
I guess
man,
about
Oh,
cows.
Amy, it's PG.
We told it last time, but
about Cal or about the win?
either the win, probably the win.
The win.
Let's go
Uh,
with the win.
Yeah.
my co-angler I got draw with that day is his very first BFL. Um, I literally, me and my son found he was my co-angler link that year, and we found this pattern Friday around 12 o'clock, and I started catching them, and he was throwing a DT6 in a demon color. I didn't even know what demon was. I didn't have one, so I borrowed one the night. Four of us stayed together, and one of the co-anglers that stayed with us, old Ty Ball, he had 10 of them, and he said, "I'll let you have one here," and handed it to me, and I took it out, caught those fish on it pretty quick, and I had 12 pounds with three, and I said, if I get two more keeper smallies, I said, I'll cut this off and let you throw it, and uh, put this fifth fish in the boat, and it was tangled in the net. I said, while I'm putting this fish in live well, cut that crankbait off and throw it. Uh, I made a call at the end of the day. I backed him in so he could try to catch them, and I was just throwing up the bank because I didn't think I'd get better. And I caught another decent smallmouth and called on a bandit, and ended up winning. And that co-angler cashed a check. He was tickled to death, and uh, that's just the kind of guy I am, I guess.
That feels good when you get a check as a co-angler.
Yeah, it does.
Who's that? Oh, Dusty. Who's Gary?
Oh, that's Dad. That's my dad.
He said, "Does the TWRA ever stop you guys when you are going to your spot?"
I
I've
mean,
never.
not on the regular, but they have stopped people before, I guess.
Mhm.
It's not often.
Not
Now,
often they don't.
now I say that, well, I'll get stopped twice this
Hey,
week.
we get stopped on Cherokee.
They'll be out there Tuesday
Um,
night pulling all of yous over.
Yeah, flagging us down
how
as
do
we take off.
how do y'all feel about fishing behind somebody?
Don't bother me.
No,
Because
not
I
if they're
feel
going
like if you can catch fish behind somebody, it makes you
It
feel
feels
better
good.
that you're doing something right.
It feels good.
It does. Go ahead, Cal. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say I'll fish behind somebody doing something different. I'm not gonna go down the same bank doing the same thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
It don't bother me to do the same thing.
Now, if you're fishing and somebody pulls up behind you, how do you feel about it?
Let them have it.
I don't let them
Well,
rush me.
that's a mind thing. Because if you've caught them down that bank, me and Cal, I bet we went up and down that bank at Chickamauga this year in that
Yeah.
BFL
Mhm.
probably 150 times. But
Yeah.
nobody tried to come in on us. Some was going down below us and coming to us, and I would always stop and turn and go back before we got to them.
Uh-huh.
But they was one or two had went around us, I think, Cal. But that don't bother me because most of the time they're not doing what I'm doing.
Right.
Majority of the
Yeah.
time, or they got it in their mind, hey, I'm not going to go down through there with throwing a rattle trap. They ain't going to go down through there throwing a rattle trap after I've went down there and made 100 casts down that
And
bank with it.
that's how I feel like when we're scoping, especially at Del Hollow. I knew nobody. I mean, I'm talking about nobody was using what I was using to scope down there at Del Hollow. As Cal, nobody was using it. They were using
What was
something
your
light. They were
what?
using
What was you using?
something.
Hey, we don't.
I won't make you answer that one since we're going there for original.
Hey, we don't even have to write it down. It's on the podcast. We'll just go back and rewatch.
It's actually in the article that when I won. But and I didn't care if people fished around me because I feel like I was showing them something that they haven't seen, or I was catching those fish that maybe they wasn't catching. But I also try to do something different. Everybody, if you listen to that podcast we did with Big Jim, I was fishing in a creek. Left side was a bluff, right side was like a flatter area. Everybody was fishing the bluffy side where the shad was at, and I was focused on the flatter side because I feel like the bigger fish were over there by themselves, not wanting to compete with the smaller fish in the shad. They were just waiting for something to come by, easy meal, like a big fish would do. So I tried to do something different. So when people came in there, the only thing that bothered me was them being pressured, just feeling pressured. Because this creek wasn't big. That space that we fished in Cherokee, that's about as wide as that place is that I won at. It's not very big.
No,
It's
it
not
ain't
very
very
wide,
big back there.
and it's about as long too. So when it comes to stuff like that, because we deal with that at Cherokee, I mean at Watauga and South Holston as well. Like that spot me and Dusty won at. Me and Cal's been fishing there, and there'll be 3 or 4 boats in
You
there.
wasn't throwing a crankbait like me. 76 foot of water.
Or some of the places me and Cal fish in the winter. We've seen people pull up in there with us, around us. Hell, the spot that we won the 3 fish with almost 13 pounds, it's the biggest daggone community hole there is. But we just feel like we're doing something a little bit different. That kind of goes back to like people fishing behind you or you fishing behind somebody. Because if I see somebody scoping on this big flat, I'm pulling up there with him. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to be side by side with him, but if he's on the right side of the flat, I'm going to fish the left side of the flat. If it's
So
a scoping deal, you know what I mean?
So
Yeah.
speaking about people fishing behind you, that co-angler, what about that etiquette? Because I mean, you hear from
we'll get
everything
in.
from the boat ramp to the end of it.
Well, we'll get into to that in a little bit about the etiquette of.
I want to talk about co-angler. I don't like boat.
Do y'all want to talk about it? Or you want to do like questions first?
Go do some questions first. I'm sure there's
All
been
right.
several asked.
If y'all have any questions, now's the time to ask it. If it's etiquette related, if it's fishing related, anything, just ask us any questions. Because I heard, Robbie's daughter's got us a few questions for this one. Rob is giving not lessons to Cal, just saying.
They're private
What?
lessons, though. Nobody else can get in on it. They've got some kind of bromance going on.
Here's another
I try.
A question I asked last week is if someone followed you around during practice to see what you were catching. I seen that more in college. and you could tell who it was, like when they were doing it. And there's a few schools, not gonna say there's schools that would do it a lot.
Mhm.
They started with an A and they just won the national championship. If that tells you anything. They would literally idle in the creeks and out of creeks and watch you. Or like if it's a deep tournament, they would literally idle. Like we would look on the map and like, where are they idling? And they would be out in like 200 foot, 100 foot of water, 70 foot of water, not idling nothing, but they're watching you. And we've seen it. Hell, we tricked the guy at Hartwell. He seen us
Yeah.
watch. He was watching us fish out deep. We were catching them, and I could watch him. He idled over close to us, marked it, and then left. And I said, "You son of a gun! Those are all white bass." We're
They
sitting there,
are.
we're like hiding it, trying to hide it, and all that kind of stuff. They were white bass. I was like, "You had that spot, buddy."
Hey, Rob, when he catches one we practicing, he gets mad if I don't say, hey, man, there's a boat back here. He'll be like, Dust, that's your job. Tell me coming to the
Yeah,
boat.
that's your job. When I
He's
when I
like,
when I boat flipped that 4-pounder in the
I'm,
BFL this year at practice at
yeah,
Watts Bar, I was like, dude, why don't you tell me there's a boat right beside me?
I'm trying to figure, I'm back there struggling. And he's like, dude, you got to tell me. And I'm like, shut up.
The place that we got really secretive, because usually I'm not very, very secretive, but the place that we got really secretive was Watauga. I mean, Del Holler. Me and Cal would open the rod box, have a fish over, act like we're retying. It'll flip the
Yeah.
bail and just let it run. Because
But they're all.
there's boats like right beside you. You know
I like it though. You watch you'll be fishing down a bank and someone will catch one and you look over there and they're just standing there with the rod like they ain't got nothing on. You know good and well they got a fish in the
Yeah, barely holding
and they're
on,
trying to hide it from you.
about ripping their arm off up back here.
Gracie asked the question: what's the craziest fish / or animal you guys have caught? I'm guessing. I guess you guess the craziest would be a walleye for me, or any deep sea fishing I did, like the snapper and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, mine
Okay,
would probably
Dad,
be.
don't throw me under the bus like that.
Heck, they don't even fish, Josh. They sit down. Like,
I've had two
this dude
Kalen
ain't
there sit
giving me
down
a
on his
chance.
lunch.
One dude sat down and started working in the back of the boat.
Hey, he said he enjoyed watching me. Okay,
He fished the tournament and started to work. Got a tablet out and everything.
I'd say mine. Okay, we'll go.
Robbie.
Well, I can't read that.
Do y'all
I'm
have
old,
any good
dude.
sushi recipes for when you're on the boat and that's all you have?
Yeah, I eat some shad.
All right, what was your craziest fish, Cal?
My craziest fish catch is probably when I went deep sea fishing. I caught a 125-pound big eye tuna, and it took me a solid hour and 15 minutes to get it in.
That would be fun.
The craziest thing I've ever caught, I didn't even know what they were, was them things down there on Fort Loudon.
Skipjack?
Yeah. I'd never caught one. I
caught,
didn't know what it was.
Me and Cal caught some when we fished the tail races.
It looked like a tarpon to me.
Nice.
Happy Gilmore.
Misty was a snapping turtle. Yeah, she I tried getting her first fish on the farm pond, and we have one big one in there, like a giant one, and I thought she hooked it the first time she ever went fishing, but it was a big ass snapping turtle. How many weights can you legally put in the fish? Okay.
We're not walleye fishermen.
You can put as many as you want as long as you don't get caught.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a question. You catch a fish. They catch on a shaky head, right? Or a jig. And it swallows it. You cut the line because you don't want to kill the fish. You got a few ounces in its mouth for a tournament. What's the rule on that?
I'd probably show the tournament director, hey, I couldn't get this thing out of its mouth.
Yeah. Because I mean, like if it's a shaky head jig, I mean, unless you're doing a ounce football jig. I mean, it's
Throwing
not
an ounce
usually over
football
an ounce.
jig.
Yeah, we're on a Highland Reservoir. We put a punching weight down his throat. I swear I was catching him punching. 2 ounces. I had to get through it.
Cal's bringing it to the stage. I mean, he brought a short fish. He's bringing one with
Yeah,
the weight
Cal
in
brings
his
some
mouth.
short fish.
I mean, it
I'll
don't
bring it in.
matter.
I'm a co-angler.
Cal could have been at the All American.
He could have.
He didn't.
He could have. Bring
If he
short
didn't
fish
weigh
to
in
scale.
last.
Yeah, he won that big applause.
What do you do when you have to go number 2? That's why you always keep doo-wops in your boat when you go running to the bank, or you find a local marina, baby.
That's y'all's. I go off the side. I get out away from people and get trying to hide. I don't get out of the boat.
Another one from your other daughter.
Oh
I
yeah.
hold my spinning reel upside down. Does it make it left-handed?
Oh no! Actually, if I held mine upside down, it would make it right-handed.
Somebody says, "Just have you ever been? Have you ever been what?" Okay, it's going on 41 minutes. Let's talk about boater and co-angler etiquette. Have you ever been kicked off the boat? You get kicked off the boat.
Cal, have you been kicked off?
I have not been kicked off the boat yet.
Cal, have you been kicked off of it?
No.
If Cal hadn't been kicked off the boat, I don't think anybody has, really.
Yeah.
I thought Robbie was going
Y'all co-anglers talk about first about y'all's etiquette with the boater in these tournaments.
Cal, you want to go first?
You go ahead.
All right. Well, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, always I always go with 5 rods and like one little tackle bag, and that kind of starts the day off. Because most of them, I've had boaters tell me that if co-angler brings a dozen rods and 2 tackle bags, it starts the day off bad for them. So I always try to kind of a plus for that. And then as the day goes on, I kind of, if he's on the trolling motor, I might inch up closer, fishing towards, throwing towards the front a little bit and everything. But, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're not supposed to really throw too far up there.
Yeah.
Right. I'd say, like, about that, like, if you're going, like, yeah, if you're going, I wouldn't take more than 5 rods. I know in the Toyota Series you can't take more than 5.
You can't take more than 5? They limit it?
Not as fun. You can't take more than 5
I think
rods.
they should do that for BFLs. Because I've had a guy that's had like 20 rods before.
That last guy I drew, he said the same thing. He said the dude had like 10, 15 rods. I mean, if I got 5 rods and I ain't got nothing to catch them on, them other 7 ain't going to matter.
Right.
And that's what, as a boater, I try to tell my co-angler what we could be doing or what we will be doing, just so he knows he can pack lighter. He don't have to bring all this stuff. Because if you just tell your co-angler, dude, I don't know what we're doing, then he's obviously going to bring everything in his damn tackle box because he doesn't know what he's doing.
It helps if you narrow it down. Give what you're doing and maybe a secondary plan too in case that one don't work out.
Right.
Okay, here's a touchy subject. If you pay your boater, how much do you pay, or when do you not pay your boater?
Oh man.
Okay.
So like, where's the line of when? Okay, you're gonna get paid, or here? Okay, you've been a douche. I'm not gonna pay you, and how much?
I think I've paid every boater so far.
How much you pay them?
I mean, might have gave him $1 or 2. I'm just kidding. Most $50 is kind of the standard. Sometimes it might be 40,
hell far.
What you
I wish I got paid $50.
I wouldn't say $50. I mean, that's on the high end for me.
If you're listening, I meant 15.
Cal forgot his wallet, so he didn't give him any.
Oh man. Okay, no. So when I go out, I either give them from $35 to $50, but it's just depending, like basically how my day going. I'm gonna pay them unless you're a guy that I fished with the Toyota Series on the first day. I didn't pay him.
He didn't really need it.
No, he didn't need
Let's
it.
talk
But
about that. Let's talk about that. We don't hold anything back. Tell the story,
Oh,
and we'll say
gosh.
the name. We'll say the
we're not gonna
name.
say that.
Tell your story about Wesley Strader and you were the co-angler. Because we don't hold nothing back on this podcast. We real.
Anyways, we're fishing, and it's the first spot, and he said it's one of his better spots. I was like, cool, so we're gonna catch him. I didn't get to fish it. He told me to sit down because he didn't want me to mess his fish up. And I was like, all right, it's the first spot. We're gonna let it ride. We're gonna be like, all right, that's cool. Maybe he's gonna catch his 5. He's gonna take me somewhere I can catch my 5. And that's not how it worked out. He backboated me the rest of the day. Like, we went to the next spot, and my first 5 casts, I catch my first keeper. I was like, oh, we're going. I'm gonna catch him right here. And I catch another one. And by the time I got that second fish in the live well, he was already had that tied on when I was catching him. And mind this side of the boat was a bluff wall he was fishing. This side of the boat was a big flat that I was throwing. And he stopped throwing at the bluff wall, and he was throwing flat. And he caught 3 of them right in front of me. I was like, you're lucky. And I finished the day off, had 2 fish. But we go into like a little secret honey hole he has, which I know where it's at now. I'm going to go fish it next time I'm down there. We're going down there. He's flipping. He basically said, he goes, you might as well not even fish this. If I'm flipping in front of you, you're not going to catch anything. I was like, all right, I understand you're a pro, but come on now. You don't say that. And then there was a fish on bed. And we go up to this. He passes one. He didn't see it. And I was like, "Ooh, there's one on bed." So I was like, "Hey, you mind backing up? Give me like 5 minutes to fish for that. If I don't catch it, we can leave." He's like, "Yeah, I got you. We back up. Here's the fish. It's coming up. It's coming up. It gets right in front of me. I'm about to pitch on it. He keeps going. Stops the boat where the fish is right in front of him. He catches it in 2 casts.
You wouldn't have caught it anyway. It'd have broke you off.
Yeah.
Right with that, but no, it was a 3-pounder. He didn't even need it. He threw it back.
Oh, that's even worse.
But yeah, like that. Like, I understand he's a big time fisherman, and I guess he just gets in that mode of I'm fishing. This is for me. I'm not here to help you. But I think there's a line of where you can how big of a.
I try to give my co-angler as much opportunity as I can.
Right.
Even if I know that I'm getting in a situation where, for example, scoping, and it's gonna be hard for them, I still try to tell them the depth that they're setting up at. Even at the BFL, I can't remember which one it was. The guy actually came up front before the tournament launched, and he dropped his bait down, and he was trying to get a gauge of how fast his bait fell, so he could count it down. When I told him a number of how deep the fish were, and I'll do that. Like, I don't care to help him out as much as I can. The only thing I don't like as me being a boater and a co-angler does, and it sounds rude when I say it, but try to be a know-it-all. I'm a big mental guy. If you start messing with me mentally, I could go, phew. So if you're always saying like, "Hey, dude, I think we should do this. Hey, dude, I think we should do that. Hey, I've been catching them here. Hey, my buddy caught him doing this. Blah 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 blah," and it throws me off my pattern or like my routine. I don't do good with that. I had a guy at South Holston do that. I was out fishing deep. I had confidence that if I caught 5 out deep, I could win it. And ask Cal, we were on the right fish out deep. It was just hard to catch. And it took you all day. I was out there for 10 minutes. He's like, "Man, I think we should go to the bank. Man, this ain't happening. You ain't catching nothing out here, man. This ain't happening." And it just started messing with me mentally. My day just went, phew.
Yeah, I think as a co-angler, we shouldn't just keep throwing it down in your throat of what we know we can do on the bank or whatever that just to help ourselves. Like, I try not to do that. I try to wait until he asks for help.
Yeah.
You did that all morning at Chickamauga.
Get him, Rob.
We need to be doing this. No, I'm just I'm just kidding.
I did. I say no, no.
Uh, it
You
I
should
try
give
to
your
give
boater money. 60 miles to spend 100 in gas is not your choice to run all over the place. You shouldn't give your boater money when they run around the lake 60 miles to spend $100 in gas. It's not your choice to run all over the place.
But I mean, on the other hand, on that too, I mean, I would say over half of them's like, man, I don't need you, and don't worry about it. You're good.
Right.
Some of them won't take it.
That is true. A lot of them don't take it. Do you
Yeah,
do you take it, Rob?
sometimes it depends on the co-angler.
if he's
I
a
made
Yeah,
jerk,
him
you
me
take my.
too.
taking it.
Me too. If he's a jerk, I'm taking it.
Yeah, I'm taking it.
I made Robbie take mine.
Now if he's a nice guy and he's like doing everything to help me, then but there's sometimes they won't, like I've had a co-angler tell me that he's not going to pay me, but then he leaves it in my rod box, like in my center console.
I've had them do
And then
that, leave them in the truck.
I've had them where they have even told me and they've put it in the rod box. And I've had people pay me before we even start fishing. The guy down at the regional did it to me and you, didn't he, Robbie?
Yeah,
Because we
yeah,
both
because
had
we
the
both had the
same
same
co-angler.
co-angler next day.
I've done
Yeah.
that once or twice. Try to set the day off good.
I've never paid my boater before.
It's like Russian roulette, but
And sometimes those type that they got it in their mind, I'm not help paying, and they're most time those are the type too that sometimes will throw out in front of you.
Yeah, they don't care. They just, yeah, they don't have any etiquette towards you.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
I mean,
yeah,
it ain't a written rule you have to, but it's just the gesture.
yeah,
That's the times that we live in today. Uh, 'Cause I'm old school,
you're
and
older
it's
than
just the
dirt.
way. Yeah, I feel like I am, but that's just the way that people are reacting today, and uh, especially with pulling in front of people and all that stuff. It seems like it's more the younger generation that does that. There's some older ones
and,
do it too, but
and I also think and this kind of goes back to, I almost think it's the way that they were raised. Some of them too,
yeah,
because I mean, even as an adult, like even as me growing up, take fishing out of it. I was always told to be respectful, think of other people's feelings. You know what I mean? Like treat somebody the way you want to be treated, and I think that goes into fishing as well.
yeah,
If you're gonna do something, think about it as if somebody did that to me or to you, how would I feel about it?
yeah. I mean, because the boater's got all control of that. He can control the outcome for the co-angler.
Yeah.
I mean, he can backboat him all day, and I've been
Okay.
there in that situation. I fished a co-angler for 3 or 4 years, and I've had boaters that would pull into a pocket, fish it, and back it out, so I couldn't throw into it.
Right.
So
When do you cross that line with a co-angler? Like, when is it? When is it to the point where you're like, okay, man, like you're being disrespectful, you're being mean, I'm not gonna give you an opportunity. To me, it takes a lot, but it also could be something where like he could just say one wrong thing to me, and it'd be like, all right, man, like, come on.
I don't think I think as a I've only had probably one co-angler that's ever got upset with me, and that was on chick. I didn't have nothing to do, and my buddy told me what to go do. And he said, but you have to commit to it if you're going to do that. And I said, okay. I did it. I run up the Watts Bar Dam and fished all day. And my co-angler got mad because it was his first one and he thought he was going to win it. And, it's, he literally sat down for 30 minutes without making a cast up there. He said, we're going to do this all day. I said, I told you that before we left. That's what we're doing.
The
And,
only time I've had somebody get really mad was probably Norris, because I was bed fishing, And at that point, I do feel bad. That's the thing. Some of these boaters don't feel bad. I feel bad, like I knew, but I know that that's the only way that I knew I could catch a limit, because I'm fishing this because I want to go up. I want to keep going up. I want to keep stepping higher. I want to end up being on tour. And so I knew that the only way that I could catch a good bag, a good limit, was to bed fish. And I feel bad for doing that sometimes because you put it in a situation. And now, if I catch 5, I see a bed fish that's not going to help me, and I already got a decent bag, and I don't have any other fish to go to, or I know that fish is going to be quick to set, I'll set up so he can try to catch that one.
Yeah. I really think that they are to figure out something to maybe give the boater a little extra points if his co-angler catches fish. That
That'd
would
be
tell you
kind of
what.
cool.
I'll
I
tell
would
you
be
what.
down at the bottom.
what would help well, I think too, what would help the BFLs is if they went to a 3-fish limit for the
3 fish
co-anglers.
limit for co-angler.
Yeah. Because that's a whole nother topic. We could talk about how co-anglers are going downhill. But I look at it as fishing as a boater, you're fishing as a co-angler. You should already know going into this that you have no say-so. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I pay $200 extra than you do.
You
And
paying that much extra?
I mean, it's like $150 now, ain't it?
I think it's 100
'Cause-
something.
So
I just like aggravating.
I'm sure. Your boy
Oh.
asked something. You have to take in that there are so many people fishing now than there used to be. It's hard not to get close to each other when you have a 250. Yeah, and that's true, especially in these smaller
Exactly.
lakes. Like, I don't think South Holston's big enough for 200-something boats.
No.
Which we fished to Morristown this year, and I think there was several times that they had 260 some boats.
Mm-hmm. It gets tight.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to talk about because, I mean, there is things going up. And do you think that's a problem with co-angler, or do you think the co-angler shortage is more? There's panoptics. There's more boaters doing stuff out deep. There's more douches as boaters. Like, what do you think is the biggest reason why co-anglers are not showing up like they used to? Because every single tournament that we have fished, they always are saying that they're needing 10 to 15 co-anglers. Every single one.
I think it's
It's not.
Go ahead, Cal.
I think it's more of the panoptics thing going offshore. Like as a co-angler, you don't want to hear that at all. Like you want to, you're out there just throwing. You're literally, if you ain't scoping, you're hoping out there. So.
And I think a lot of things is going on like what happened to Cal. Cal's like, I'm tired of being a co-angler. I'm going to go get a boat. And I think that's happened. I think a lot of these co-anglers are like, I'm going to go get a boat so I can control what I'm doing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But you hate to hear it, but at the same time, you can't really get upset because you're not the boater. You know what I mean? Like, obviously it sucks, and I would hate to hear it too. But there's a point where you're like, I'm mad, but I can't be mad at you for doing it. You know what I mean? Because you as a co-owner, you hate to hear that you're going scoping, but you love the scope when you're up front. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it's that. I think it's that people, especially this day and age, because I even tell it, I couldn't be a co-angler. I cannot stand not being in control. You know what I mean? Like I have to be in control of the situation, especially with tournament wise. Because if I lose a tournament, I want it to be on me, not somebody else. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's just how I am. So I think a lot of people are getting out of co-angler because they want to be a boater because they want to have that control.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started fishing the BFLs back when FLW had it, there was like a co-angler waiting list if you didn't link in with somebody.
Yeah,
I think that's the problem. That's the problem too. I think with the co-angler shortages is the boaters. We know the rules. If you want a guaranteed co-angler, you got to have a link. And we know that. We know that going into the tournaments, but people jump into the BFLs and they just sign up as a boater. And, boater on boater draw is not fun.
Mm-mm.
It's just very uncomfortable. I've been there. I've been boater on boater one time. It's uncomfortable deal. But I think that's what happens is a lot of times too that these guys has bought boats and they've decided to fish as a boater and they don't find that co-angler link.
I've
That's
had
the reason it
two.
does. That's the reason it does come on. I lost my link. I'd had a link for I don't know 3 or 4 years, I guess, and he decided he wouldn't fish in the BFLs, and so I had to find a link, and luckily I found one for the first one, and then I put it on Facebook, and Dusty called me, said, "Hey, I think I'll try it. If you want me to be your link, I'll do it." And I'm glad he did, so I don't have to worry
Yeah.
about that situation.
Whitney's about ready
And
to kill
now,
him for it, but yeah.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
afraid I was going to lose it because Cal's going to be better, but luckily my dad's going to fish with me if his neck surgery and stuff all goes good. But
I
that's
think
a big comfort. That's a big comfort, though.
I think Misty could fish as Cal's co-angler.
Hey, I'm down.
Yeah.
But there is things that they can do to get more co-anglers. Make it. I feel like if you make it a 3-fish limit, a lot more co-anglers are going to join. If you
Yeah, because it's gonna be closer.
maybe if you drop the entry fee a tad bit, I don't think that they pay a lot, but it's not a lot. But I think if you drop it a little bit, but
What is the co-angler entry fee? 110 a tournament?
yeah.
Yeah, 113 after they
Okay,
get their little $3 thing.
talking about
Boaters is
co-anglers.
220.
Yeah. Talking about co-anglers, we've seen this at El Hollow. Boaters are starting to let co-anglers come up front and fish with them with live scope.
That ain't happened to me yet.
Yeah, me neither.
But me and Cal seen it down there at Del Hollow. He's seen it with his boater, like people around him. I've seen it with people around me. As a co-angler, that would piss me off.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah.
then again, were they boater on boater draws?
No, they were not. There was no boater on boater draws because we asked that question when we got back. And there were people talked about it, but nobody really had proof of who it was. I have it on video. Go watch my YouTube video. I don't think I posted it. I have video of the guy saying,
How we gonna
literally,
watch it if it ain't posted?
The video's posted, but I don't know if I put that clip in there. Is what I'm saying.
Dusty, you got to give him a break. It's his birthday.
I know. I mean, the dude turned 21 today. He's talking about watch my videos that ain't out there. He's had a rough day.
He literally says, he's like, man, I even tried to get my co-angler up here with me to try to catch some. Like, full on told me he was letting his co-angler come up there in front of another co-angler that's in the boat with me.
Yeah, if I was a co-angler, I'd be upset. Like down at Watts Bar last year at the Super Tournament, my co-angler, she needed one to get to the regional, and she caught a bunch, but we just didn't have no keepers. And at the end of the tournament, we didn't have but like 15 minutes, and I caught a 4-pounder under the boat, and I literally told her from the back of the boat, I said, cast your line up here next to the trolling motor. They're right here. I don't see anything wrong with that, but I wouldn't. I ain't letting a co-angler come up front. I'll let him get up front and go get a plug unloose or something.
Yeah, I do that.
Hung up.
Yeah.
And I'm not a co-angler, but my advice to co-anglers is fill your boater out. Because what me and Robbie will let you do is not what somebody else will let you do.
No,
Now, if you get in the boat with me and Robbie, it's just like I said. Like, if I tell you to throw up front, you can throw up front. You know what I mean? But until I tell you to throw up front, I don't expect you to throw up front. You know what I mean?
Okay. Cal, who is your best boater that you've ever been drawn with in a BFL?
Let's see.
Wesley Strader.
No, Toyota series.
Name somebody but Rob. Name somebody but Rob.
I'm digging for that answer there. That way I know if he gets in my boat again, I how to treat him.
Robbie is a great boater, but I would have to say that Dale Hollow tournament I got second in, my boater there. I mean,
because he sat down for you.
he put his rods up and just got on the trolling motor and asked me where I wanted to go. And he wasn't even fishing anymore.
I'm heartbroken, Cal. next time we get drawn together, you're backboated.
Like, we'll get drawn together at Cherokee now.
Yeah, we'll get drawn to Cherokee. You will not catch a fish. Hey, that's the thing too. Somebody that's close to the points.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get nervous as a boater when you get the guy leading the points?
Last year at South Holston, I had the guy that was leading AOI, and he zeroed in my boat. I felt like crap. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry.
I've only had that. I've had it happen once.
Really?
But we both caught a keeper. Both of us were lead. It was the second tournament, so we was both leading the points after the first one because we both won, and we ended up just catching one fish apiece.
Golly. Well, we're coming up on that hour and 5 minutes point, so we're going to wrap this up here. I hope all y'all enjoyed. Like I said, we're going to post this on Spotify after. It'll be uploaded on YouTube after as well. We're working on getting it on Apple too. Apple's stingy with all this stuff, so I'm trying to get that all figured out. Look out for the Technique of the Week coming out on our YouTube, and I might be able to post it on Facebook, but it's for sure going to be on our YouTube. Make sure if you're watching on Facebook, head over to our YouTube, like and subscribe. That helps us out on Facebook. Check all of our links. We got links to different things. Also, check out our TikTok and our Instagram. It's /boys PC is the name. Go check him out. Give us a like. Give us a follow. All that kind of stuff. Helps us out. Help us grow. But hope you all enjoy. And make sure you go ahead and watch this over at Spotify as well. That helps us out. If you're on Spotify listening to this, check us out on YouTube. We go live every Sunday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. And if something ever changes like that, it will post it on our social media. But I hope y'all have a good night. And I'm going to go finish celebrating my birthday.
Happy birthday, Gavin.
Happy birthday, Gavin.
Happy birthday. Have a good night, man.
Right.
You too.